hand, baking bread for my grandchildren, who were coming here after school. I eyed the bananas on the worktop. Brown spots seemed to multiply with every hour that passed. I might even throw a quick banana bread in the oven, with chocolate chips. The children would love that. I had to leave the dough for the bread to prove for another hour anyway, wrapped in cling film in the airing cupboard, so I'd no excuse but laziness and the persistent ache in my left arm. It hadn't been the same since it had been broken 18 months earlier, and was, according to the doctor, unlikely to improve further. I'd just have to work through it. "Come on then," I called to the dog, who started to wag her tail with great enthusiasm. "You win, just like you always do." She bounced her way down the hall, deliriously happy at seeing her lead in my hand, patting my pockets to make sure I had everything I needed with me. Phone, keys, poo bags. I opened the door, then watched as Izzy bounded to the end of the garden before stopping, looking back at me and waiting. She was a good dog. She made me leave the house at least once a day, which was a positive thing. I could quite happily have never left the safety of my own home. I preferred my own company, peace and quiet, my solitary routine. But fresh air was good for body and soul, or so they said. I clipped Izzy's lead to her collar and off we set along Coney Road. Narrow, quiet, just far enough from the main roads of Derry to feel as if we were in the middle of nowhere. We'd walk half an hour out on the road and half an hour back, taking in some of the back roads, maybe slip into the country park for a bit. Striding out, I didn't put my earphones in. I preferred to be able to hear what was around me, to keep my wits about me, just in case. I doubt I posed an attractive prospect to any would-be kidnapper, rotund and in my mid-60s, but nonetheless you never could be too careful. People who wanted to hurt others would do so regardless. I was glad I'd brought a bottle of water with me. It didn't take long for me to feel too hot. I chided myself for bringing a jacket. Even though it was light, it was still too heavy for this weather. Everything was too heavy for this weather. I slipped it off and tied it around my waist. There was a beautiful calm to the morning. The sound of birds tweeting. In a while the city would start to wake up and the rat race would begin again. I was so glad to be out of that now. After a while I let Izzy off the lead. She ran on, occasionally stopping to look back at me, teeth flashing a bright canine smile before setting off again. Occasionally she'd spot a rabbit or a bird and would speed off up the road or into the fields to chase them, bounding as she ran. It was then I felt guilty for wanting to stay inside and not walk her. This is where she was at her happiest. She never wandered far enough that I couldn't see her. She'd reach a certain point and stop, then turn her head back to me as if to say, "Come on, old girl, keep up." She'd wait patiently until I was closer, then set off again. We walked on until she started barking, running to the hedgerow, yelping and spinning around, running back to me and back to the hedgerow again. "What is it, girl?" I asked as I followed her, wondering what it was she'd uncovered this time. An old ball, ripe for throwing into the field for a prolonged game of catch, or more likely a bone, or the remains of an animal that she'd then roll in, necessitating me wrestling her into the bath when we got home. Only as I got closer, I saw her pull at something bright. Orange, fabric, whatever it was heavy. She pulled and struggled with it, yelping all the time. Despite the heat, I felt a chill run up my spine. I wanted to turn around and run, but Izzy was becoming more and more distressed. The orange object took shape before my eyes, sharpened, came into focus. As did a hand. Bluish grey. Izzy pulled back. I noticed her white paws, which just minutes before were brown with mud, were now dark red. Her barking had become whimpering. I wanted to run, but I couldn't. I was frozen to the spot. I pulled my phone from my pocket, took a deep breath, forced myself to keep walking.